if you're absolutely cracked and manage to survive 1,000 seconds, you get this special Leviathan dagger, and no, I'm not doing this.
There's an unspoken rule of Devil Daggers that if you get 500, you can get 1,000. And unfortunately for you, Mushroom, you got 500.
Yes! 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 Holy shit! I did it!
And you say that you won't go for 1,000, but after you watch this video, you'll see that you only need to learn a few basic things that are actually not basic at all, but they're learnable, and then you just need some knowledge on how loop works, and then you'll basically get 1,000 instantly. It's honestly surprising how one of these videos hasn't been made already, but whatever. I'm also going to be commentating while I do the run, because it's just easier than recording it in post, because it took me 2 months to make the achievement guide, and I don't plan on doing that again. So I'm going to start the run doing a little farm. You probably know how to do this, but I'll explain as I go through. So, the main goal of a gem, the main goal of a farm is to gain more gems, and the only reason I'm doing this farm is for the Gigapede trio, because you want to get the level 4 hand on the first scrape, because that just helps you so much, you know? So it's better than no farming, and it's not that hard if you just, don't follow the strategies that are the only strategies obtainable by on YouTube right now. So yeah, what I want you to notice is that I'm killing every single skull on sight, because what's the most dangerous thing in a farm? That's right, the skulls. So kill them. Don't wander. In other guides they say to circle the map counterclockwise like this, but you really shouldn't do that, because it's harder to kill skulls that way. So yeah, just find a little empty section like this and just kite the skulls, and then you'll be good. And at 80 seconds you can start clearing things, and you still don't have to go counterclockwise, you just have to wait for gems to align to you. And notice how I'm not shotgunning. Shotgunning just kind of makes the farm more of a struggle, because it just blasts the gems away from you. So yeah, you just kill everything accordingly. Now if you have 45 or more gems, that means you will get level 3 hand if you kill every segment of the centipede, and as you can see I have 54, so I farmed enough. That's just a good little indicator to make sure that you're on pace. And there you go. Level 3 hand obtained, and you don't have to farm at all anymore, so long as you didn't mess up horribly, but yeah. So I'm not going to. If you want to be extra careful though, you can like keep one of these squids alive every wave. Honestly, it might be easier to keep the squid 2 alive, since the skull 2 can just fly away, and the skull 3 will go straight towards you. But you see? You get an extra gem. Just helps. Remember to kill the squid after they regush though. That's pretty important. Anyways. Oh yeah, you should also learn shotgun tech. I'll explain that later in the future. Hello, it's me later in the future. I am here to discuss shotgun tech. So basically, shotgun tech it's the way to shotgun the fastest, and it gives you the best DPS output than anything else. So it's really useful for the orb and the Leviathan and spider 2s and thorns and skulls and squids and whatever other enemies there are. It's just helpful. You really don't want to use it with level 1 or level 2 because the shotgun spread is terrible. But level 3 and level 4, the shotgun spread is way better. But even with level 3, you really shouldn't use it because that shotgun spread is also weaker than you think, unless you're killing like a spider or something. But still, don't overestimate it. The reason you gotta learn this is because it's also, not only is it just better than spam clicking is just so inconsistent. Like, I'll just do it. That's spam clicking, and then this is shotgun tech. So yeah, if you want to learn shotgun tech, I put some links in the description below, so check that out. Remember to keep these squids alive. They're easier to... It's just easier to keep them alive and focus the skulls instead. Alright, there you go. 86 before the 6 squids. So, that's pretty good. You remember the strategy from the achievement guide. I won't go into depth here, but the main thing you want to look out for is having 100 gems before the gigabeats start, which obviously I have reached. So... yeah, that's the whole point of the farm, because without the farm you get like 81 or 87 gems, and it just makes your life harder. Alright, so this spawn is terrible, but you don't have to panic, because it's just a process of trial and error, really, but yeah, I got level 4. Now I'm just trying to look for the final gem of the gigapede, which is right there. And the gigapedes are having a stroke right now, but that's not a big deal. I'll just not die, which I almost did. There's plenty of room for error in this spot, so long as you know shotgun tech. This spot, I like to go counterclockwise, because just good at killing the squid 3s faster. So the main difference for the Gigapede trio from 500 to 1k is that you just want to do it without using homing, which might be difficult, but it's doable, especially if you farm. The farm helps a lot. Anyways, the Leviathan, you need to know shotgun tech for this. You just do, alright? So if I haven't already, there's some links to tutorials in the description, even the one I learned it from, so yeah. I'm gonna use slightly moderately slow but kind of fast shotgun tech, just keeping it consistent, you know? Also, never shotgun the swarms under the Leviathan. That's horrible practice, because if you choke your shotgun tech, a bunch of skulls get transmuted, so don't do it. Anyways, Leviathan dies, just shoot a homing shotgun. Everything dies. Target the squid 3 manually, because homing does not work well against them. So just target squid 3s manually. Don't expect homing to kill them. Couch isn't that intimidating. You can just dodge it like that. Orb dies, shoot another homing shotgun. This part's hard, so why not just play it safe? Alright, look for 2 spiders. There's the first one. There's the second one. Now I can scrape right here, but that's pretty hard to do, so I'm just gonna kill this guy. And just kill the skulls on sight. Alright, all the skulls are dead, minus this swarm, so I'm gonna kill that. And now I'm gonna scrape. And if you want, use a little homing. But the ghost speed is about to spawn, so yeah, most of my homing got eaten. It did help a little bit though. Alright, the ghost speed you don't want to spawn kill, because that puts you behind for this wave. Yeah, just stream down the skulls. I'll probably give you a more thorough way to clear the loop wave in editing, so Yeah, enjoy that right now. Hello, this is you enjoying that right now. Here's how a loop wave works. It starts off with 2 squid 1s spawning simultaneously, and then 3 seconds later 2 squids spawn simultaneously, but this time a squid 2 is added in the mix. And then 3 seconds after that a squid 3 spawns. During the squid section is where you want to use homing. The other enemies you can kill manually just fine, but this part is pretty intense, so that's the focus of where your homing will go from now on. And for the record, when you do use homing, kill the skulls manually, because you want the homing to kill the squids. You can easily kill the skulls, just hold left click and aim in their general direction and then they're gone. And with that I'll give you an example. So, the 2 squid 1 spawn, I start with the one on my left, switch to the right, and then go from right to left. I forgot to have the timer on, but I hope that you get the gist of it. Anyways, kill the spider 1s first. Alright, preferably start scraping the gigapede at 484 or 483, because you just have plenty of time to do so. Don't have to worry about spiders. And then you kill the ghost pede, because this is just a safe spot, because no squids spawn or anything. Collect the gems, make sure to stream down the skulls. It's good practice to stream down the skulls as they gush, even if you have thorns to kill, because you can just kill them. Anyways, I'm still doing the waves homing list. I'm gonna do that until 600 seconds, because if you can do homing lists up to 600, then you are definitely ready for anything, honestly. Besides 700 seconds. Alright. I can scrape here, but there's another window that's later, which is 537. You can scrape here and be safe from spiders. Just like that. Alright, this is the final wave where I don't use homing. Even though it is kind of later, every loop wave gets faster, but since this wave is a ghost pede wave, it's easier to do homing lists because the gigapede isn't spawning. Okay, so I forgot to mention, every 3 waves, the pede cycle will be different. So 2 waves in a row, it'll be a gigapede, you can see. Gigapede on wave 1, gigapede on wave 2, but wave 3, ghost pede. And it repeats that cycle. 1 gigapede, 2 gigapede, ghost pede. 1 gigapede, 2 gigapede, and it doesn't like block your path at all. Alright, now I'm gonna kill this spider and then watch for the smoke clouds of the thorns. This is kind of a dangerous spot. Alright, there's the smoke clouds. Because if you don't pay attention, the thorns can spawn right on you while you're looking at the ghost pede and you won't even know, and then you'll die. So that's bad. Alright, there's the first squid. There's the second one. There's the squid 2. Here's the first 2 squids. And there's the squid 2. I use homing. I drag it on the floor because that just spreads better. And everything's dead. Remember, homing doesn't work well on the squid 3, so... I recommend learning how to get this early scrape. I could have done it there, but I'm not going to for this example. So yeah, scrape it after the thorns are dead. It's way riskier because there's skulls alive, but no big deal. Try to kill the gigapede before you use homing, because gigapede being alive while you try to use homing just ends in disaster, because it just wastes the homing. Because the homing tries to kill the gigapede, but most of the gigapede segments are already dead, so the homing just gets wasted on it. Alright, there we go. Scrape it again. I'm watching that gush to my right. Now the loop wave hasn't started yet, so I'm not using yet. And there we go. Alright, now we're at 700. This is where things get pretty hard. But as long as you stay on top of it, you can live pretty easily. All the spiders. Squid number 1. Squid number 2. Squid number 3. And homing. When you use homing, you mostly want it to kill squids, because that's the real threat. You can kill almost every other enemy just manually, so keep that in mind. And thorns, you definitely want to have killed, because they're just DPS sponges, and they just waste homing daggers. Alright. And now the waves are fast enough where the second you stop, the moment you stop scraping, oh my gosh. When you stop scraping, you can just use your homing immediately. Also, I use a little bit before, just because it kind of helps out, but not that much. Like you saw, it killed that squid. That helped. And yeah, everything's dead. And notice how I have over 500 homing. That's pretty much a free 1k. Alright, 800. Things are getting real hard here, so just kill the spiders. Kill the thorns. 1 homing shotgun, that'll do the trick. If you haven't killed the thorns, then you'll have to use more homing, just because the thorns do waste them. Kill the spiders on sight when you can. Alright. 1 homing shotgun before the scrape. And homing after. Just stream down the skulls because you want the homing to kill the squids, not the skulls. And you're good. Kill the thorns as they emerge. Now this will be our first homing scrape, because it's hard to scrape them manually from now on. Future Sodov speaking again. I just want to mention it's good to practice your homing scrapes, because when you're at 800 seconds trying to get 1k for the first time, you're probably pretty nervous, and you really don't want your homing scrapes to look like something like that, you know? That's pretty bad. Because when you do a homing scrape, you want it to die instantly, because when a gigapede is alive, homing works way less. So yeah, you want it dead. So it's very important to work on the aim. And to do that, I recommend using the spawn set editor. Give yourself level 4 hand. Give yourself like 1,000,000 homing. Then what you can do is spawn a gigapede and then just make it a repeating cycle every 15 seconds. That's pretty good. Then replace it with Control R. And when you want to remove the spawn set, press Control D in the spawn set editor to delete it. And then just like jam out to music or something while you practice your aim on the homing scrape. It's a really good practice method. I used it when I was approaching 1000 plus, and then the world record holder at the time, Axe, he watched my replay on stream and was like, wow, you are way too calm when you homing scrape the gigapedes. You must be a smurf. That's actually true, by the way. I got accused of being a smurf for my homing scrapes. So it's good to practice them, because that's a good compliment, especially when it damages your entire reputation. You can even homing scrape the previous gigapede. If there's squids left over, just use a little more homing. This guy's not that much of a threat, but if you can finish him off, do it. Now for this ghost speed, you might want to kill the ghost before the spider too, but it's good practice to kill the spider too beforehand. Anyways, can't kill all the thorns, so I use 2 homing shotguns and a little more afterwards. Kill the spider too. Try to kill all the spiders and thorns before the homing scrape. And homing scrape. Alright, final Gigapede before the 940 Ghost, which is the hardest ghost you have to kill for 1k. Make sure everything's dead. Homing scrape. And if you have more than 200 homing here, you have enough for 1k. And I have 360, so I definitely have enough. Now this is a really hard ghost speed. You don't have time to mess around, so just kill it on sight. And then I'll use some homing instantly, just 2 homing shotguns. And now that the squids are spawning in, I'll use a little more to clear them up. And just kill the skull 4. Now, killing this Gigapede is really the last thing you have to do to get 1k, but if you have more homing, it's good to kill other things. Homing scrape it. Make sure everything else is dead. And if you can kill this Gigapede, 1000 is so free. Like, you may as well just use everything here. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna do that. I'll just use everything. And with that being said, I'm just gonna stand in the middle. In fact, I'm just gonna walk away from the PC and just let myself die because I got 1000. It's easy. Alright, I had to walk back to my computer because I have to stop the recording. Also, I want to mention some bonus advice for people who are still learning, because that walkthrough obviously just won't be enough, so hopefully this helps. You can activate the timer by pressing 1 or tab, both work, and you can activate the gem counter by pressing 2. The timer is obviously your score, and the gem counter is obviously your gem counter. Secondly, I want to mention the player settings. Audio is optional, but I recommend HRTF, that just makes the sound better. Gamma, the default setting is 2.2, which is the darkest setting. Lower it to make it brighter. I highly recommend that. Gamma is backwards in Devil Daggers for whatever reason, so yeah, get used to it. You can also set your gamma to a custom value by control clicking on it and setting it to like 1.4 or 1.3, or also 0 if you're stupid. I set mine to 1.4 most of the time because it's just a comfortable brightness for me. FOV, the default is 90, which is kinda low. I keep it at 100. Anything between 100 and 110 is reasonable, I'd say. The lower your FOV is, the easier it is to aim. The higher your FOV is, the harder it is to aim, but you do see more enemies. You don't have to be that precise with it. For look speed, it kind of depends on your mouse pad. I like to keep it low. Usually players calculate their sensitivity by look speed times their mouse DPI, which is eDPI. In my case, my eDPI is 100, but I also change it a lot, so yeah. Flash hand is optional. It's not that big of a distraction, but for some reason I play better without it, so yeah. Left hand is a preference thing. Invert while you're stupid. There's also a secret setting. If you press P, you get the option of legacy audio, which disables stereo player sounds, which if you activate that, you're also stupid. Next up, I want to mention feather collecting, which is where you break your rapid fire to collect gems faster. You can see me do this throughout the run I just showed you. It's a great habit to have, and it's especially useful during farm. Next up, I want to mention flat scrapes, which are pretty complicated, but if a Gigapede's gems are close to the ground and seemingly impossible to reach, they can actually be hit in a very specific way. Basically, if you walk really close to it and aim slightly above the Gigapede, then your daggers will actually hit the gem segments because your daggers spawn from under your hand. So yeah, it's a weird thing. Also, a tip for the Gigapede trio: when you're at the triple squid 3 section, don't be afraid to go behind the squids. They're actually pretty easy to navigate around, so even though they look close to the edge, you can actually walk right past them and kill them. Also, here's a tip for the orb: if it beckons, it will look at you like an eye, and it beckons every 2.5 seconds or something. And if it's still looking right at you, and if you mess up your shotguns for like a fraction of a second, it will beckon immediately. So walk to the side of it if you don't want cancer. Also, when you use homing in waves that aren't that overwhelming with skulls and squids, I recommend aiming at the floor, because if you aim at the floor, it's more likely that the homing will reach the squids instead of just flying off into the abyss. So that's why you see me do it a lot. Another thing about homing is that it's important to time it properly. In the early waves, you see that I don't actually use homing the moment the loop wave starts, when the 2 squid 1 spawn, and instead I wait for the squid 2 and the squid 1 spawn, because those are the main targets. So if you use the homing instantly, then there's a chance the homing daggers will fly off into the abyss before reaching the other squids, so yeah. You can even see me do this on a few homing scrapes, because if I'm like really early on a homing scrape, then sometimes I would finish it before the squids are done spawning, so I just use a little more. Now on to something that makes most top players want to die. When the ghost beat initially starts spawning, it doesn't spawn immediately. It's under the map, you know? When it spawns under the map, the homing that's in the air will just slam to the floor and then just resume like nothing happened. So you gotta be mindful of that. It takes some getting used to, but that might kill a few of your runs before you adjust to it. Basically, just don't use too late on ghost waves, otherwise the homing won't do anything. There's plenty more advice I could give you, but I don't really want the video to be 3 million years long. But I have some final words to say. Watching this video will not instantly get you 1,000 seconds. It's just to help you move forward and progress. There's gonna be a lot of fails. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was getting 1,000 seconds. Like, the game's been out for 10 years and there's only 200 people with 1,000 seconds. That says a lot. But even if you aren't getting 1,000 seconds, enjoy the process. Enjoy the 600 second PB. Enjoy getting 700. Enjoy getting 800. Enjoy getting 999 seconds. Also, I want you to notice how I had so much homing at the end of my run. It just kind of shows how there's a lot of room for error. You don't have to play as perfectly as I did to get 1,000. In fact, literally nobody ever does for their first 1,000. But yeah, there's a lot more things to learn. So if you need extra advice, I recommend watching replays around your skill level to compare them to what you do and see what you can improve on and see what you're better at. But yeah, let me know what you want to see next. Also, shameless plug, but I stream world record attempts on Twitch at twitch.tv/ysautup. So if you want to watch that, that's something you could do. Alright, goodbye.